Yes, sir. What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy D Nolly, aka Don Squally, and we are back with another Forza Horizon build video, man. So for those of you guys who watched our last episode, you will have known that we did that Freshkicks single turbo 350Z build, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big fan of the cars that Freshkicks build. So what I wanted to do in today's video is jump into the auto show and see if we can find that Infinity Q50 and see if we can put that Freshkicks touch on it, man. So obviously what we're gonna have to do first and foremost is go ahead and get that 2014 Eau Rouge, I'm not really sure, but we're going to go ahead and buy it up. Now, for those of you guys who know, this version right here is actually the R35 GTR spec. Now, this was actually a concept car well before the actual production Q50 came out. And like I said, this thing had that R35 powertrain in it, getting a 3.8 twin turbo. Now, the actual production model of this car came with either a 3.7 liter naturally aspirated, I believe there was a 3 liter twin turbo, and there might have even been one more smaller engine that this thing came available with, but obviously that 3 liter twin turbo is what Freshkicks has on his car. But we're going to go ahead and upgrade this car nonetheless. We're going to see if we can get the styling outside looking on point. And we're also going to do a couple of performance mods. Now, for those of you guys who know Freshkicks, I believe his car is a rear-wheel drive. If not, he was pulling that all-wheel drive fuse, because I did see him doing a couple of burnouts in his Q50. Now, it does have a front splitter on it, but it's not quite as aggressive as this one here, and this one has the canards and the tow hook, so I don't think I'm going to be using this front splitter, but this thing does have that carbon fiber lip, which I believe Freshkicks does have on his. Now, as far as the trunk goes, for those of you guys know, Kicks does not have a spoiler, but he does, however, have that duck-built carbon fiber trunk. But since we don't have that option, what I'm thinking we're probably going to have to do with this one is just leave the stock trunk on here, and then we're going to go ahead and throw some carbon fiber paint on that once we get into the paint section of the game. Now, the wheels is really where this car is all going to come together here. First off, we're going to go with that race tire compound. We're going to widen them boys up just a little bit, get that grip. As much grip as we possibly can, since we are now dealing with a rear-wheel drive vehicle. And we're going to go ahead and see if we can find some wheels that matches what Kicks got on his car. Now, for those of you guys who are familiar with that Q50 build, that Freshkicks mode, we're going to go ahead and look for some work wheels. I don't think there's actually works in this game, so I'm just going to skim through a couple of options here, and we're going to find something that I think matches the closest. Now, looking at all the wheels here, I think my best bet is either going to be these Rotiform FUCs, not to get demonetized up in this mofo, or these 1552s, both 5-spoke with a 3-piece 5-spoke with a deep dish, but I think, man, it's a tough one. It's either the 1552s. I think what we're going to go ahead and do is go with the Rotiforms for now. They do have a much deeper dish than the 1552s, but I don't know. Actually, you know what? Upon further investigation, I think the 1552s are going to be our best bet. Now, the spokes on these wheels compared to the works are a little bit different, but the dish is pretty much around the size that we're gonna need for this one. So I think once we paint that center black, it might look a little better. We are not going to change the wheel diameter size on these. However, we are going to stance this boy out just a little bit. And obviously, once we lower this thing, we're going to have to kind of dial in that fitment. But for now, we're going to go all the way wide with these mofos right now. So as you can see, we got a nice stance going. Now that we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and deal with that clutch. Even though in real life, them Q50s only come in automatics, I think just for the sake of faster shifting, we're going to go ahead, upgrade the clutch, upgrade that transmission, and to get a little bit of drift action happen, we're going to also install a race diff on this bad boy. Now that we got that out of the way, we're going to jump into the brakes aspect of it. Now, I believe Kicks has his brakes powder coated yellow, but since that isn't an option, we're just going to go ahead and upgrade the rotor setup. Now that drop needs to get absolutely slammed, so we're going to go ahead and install the drift springs and dampers. Hopefully we can lower this thing just a little bit, get a bit more camber happening on this thing, and it should be looking nice. But now that we got all of that stuff out of the way, we're just going to upgrade the intake and exhaust. Now this thing has 446 kilowatts, which is right around 600 horsepower. Now if I had to guess, I'd say that Freshkicks Q50 is right around 500 horsepower. I know that it was tuned, but I just forget how much horsepower it was making, and upon doing my research, I couldn't find the actual numbers with the research that I was doing at the time. But for those of you guys who know, drop it down in the comments section. I want to say right around 500 horsepower. But we are done modifying this thing as it sits. We're going to go ahead, pay for that 45,000 credits, well spent. Now that we got all that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump into the tuning. Now, obviously, we need as much negative camber as we could possibly get on this car. We also need to slam this thing quite a bit lower, but that's actually as low as it goes. Now I have heard, you know what, let's try one thing. We're gonna jump back into the upgrades here, because I remember seeing comments every time I try to get more low on one of my cars, and they say that if you actually put rally springs and dampers, that you can in fact get the car lower and possibly have more camber. So we're going to go ahead and give this a try here. Install those rally springs and dampers, which when you're building a stance car actually seems like blasphemy. But let's see if we can, if there's any truth to what's going on here. So we're going to go ahead, max out the camber. I was going to say slam the camber, but that's not what you do with camber. And we're going to go ahead and lower this thing and see if it looks any lower. Now that we got that out of the way, we are going to jump into the designs and paints here. I'm going to go ahead and paint this car first and foremost. Yeah, I think that thing actually does look a little bit lower. But what we need to paint first is the wheels. So we're going to go ahead and paint the center of these wheels black. Leave the actual lip of them a nice chrome. Let's see actually if we can get that that outer lip a little bit more chrome here. Want it to really shine nice. So we'll go with the aluminum polished on that. Actually doesn't look much different, but we'll give it a shot anyways. We're going to go ahead, tin up these windows, and now next up what we got to do is get the front end and the trunk of this car in carbon fiber. So in order to achieve the look I'm going for here, what I think I'm gonna have to do first is do the whole car in a carbon fiber. Now actually it's tough to tell that it's carbon fiber when it's in gloss, but in the matte you can really tell. But I guess we'll go with the gloss carbon fiber here real quick. And see how that works out. And then what I'm gonna have to go ahead and do is wrap the rest of the body panels, so the sides, the doors, probably the rear quarter panels, in the gray, and that's gonna give us the look we're going for, because you can't actually wrap in carbon fiber. I found that out in our last video. So now we're just gonna go ahead, apply the vinyls here. First, what we got to do is select the color that we want to go with. So I think we're going to go with this dark gray and just fine tune it a little bit, lighten it up just a hair. And that should be good for what we're looking for here on this one. Now I know last time I did this, I went with a really light gray in here, but then when I got out to the sunlight, the color was way off. It was way too light. Now it looks like it's making, oh, I was almost going to wrap that front fender in the gray. We actually need to leave the front two fenders in carbon fiber and just do the rest of the car. So I'm going to go ahead, take care of that real quick. And through the magic of editing, you guys should be back with a legit wrapped car here. All right, so we've wrapped the passenger side here as well as the rear bumper. Now the only thing that I need to do is just copy it over to the driver's side, which we're gonna go ahead and do right now. Where are we here? Insert all from the right side, and as you can see, we got that front end all carbon fiber. Now the only thing we're gonna have to do here is actually get the bumper paint matched here in that same gray color. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. And it's kind of hard to tell in this light, but our front bumper is now wrapped the same dark gray as our car. So we got the carbon fiber trunk as well as that carbon fiber front end. So now that we got all that out of the way, we're ready to save this to the car and take this thing out on the road and see what it's all about. Now, one thing that I do want to do before we get too far is just have a look at that gray in the sunlight. So we're gonna try to find some sunlight, and to be honest, that actually doesn't look that bad at all. That I think is actually a little closer of a color than we had with the 350Z. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just in love with the way this thing looks. But let's take it out on the road, see what that R35 power plant is like in a rear-wheel drive Q50.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Now, for those of you guys who know, Freshkicks started out with an Infiniti G35 Coupe, which is when I started watching them, because for those of you guys who know, I am a Nissan enthusiast. I've owned quite a few VQs in my day, including 2 G35s and 2 3.5 liter Nissan Altimas. So yeah, man, I've been following him for a very long time, and I gotta say, you know, he's came a long way, and what he's done for the Nissan Infiniti community really is a lot. But one thing that I am noticing on this car is that the suspension, because we had that off-road suspension, things need to get stiffened up quite a bit. As you can see here, the spring rate, not ideal for a street car. So I'm gonna go ahead, stiffen both the front and back up quite a bit here. We don't have any roll bars on it, so we can't actually adjust that. We're also going to go ahead and stiffen up the rebound as well as the bump stiffness, since this thing, for the most part, going to be on road all the time. We're never going to be off-road in this car. So let's see if that helps with the handling. Starting off in second. I was just noticing there was a lot of body roll as we were going around the corners there. And that is definitely a little bit better. Now, I'm not too sure where this route here is taking me, but I'm just going to go ahead and follow it for now. Woo, drifting off of the road. Okay. I guess we were going to be doing a little bit of off-roading. Not by choice, though. But yeah, Freshkicks does a lot of roll racing in his cars. That 350Z, an absolute killer on the streets, man. He did have the R8, but I believe he ended up getting rid of that because, well, let's be honest, German cars can just be a lot when it comes to maintenance, as well as the Mitsubishi. So, like, the fact that this man races all of his cars, got rid of the R8 because it was not reliable. Got rid of the Mitsubishi Lancer because it was not reliable. And he's predominantly sticking with the Nissan brand. Should tell you something about the reliability of Nissans there. Woo-wee. Getting loose there, hitting that little potted plant over. This is a nice little area, man. I'm liking this. In a speed zone, not a drift zone, but we're going to be drifting a little bit in here anyways. Woo. To be honest, the rear wheel drive in this car really isn't that bad. I was expecting for this thing to be fishtailing all over the place. But overall, I gotta say, man, this car's handling relatively nice compared to what I thought it was gonna be like. That's for damn sure. Get a nice little top speed run here. Yes, sir. Forgot to downshift there, trying to get sideways. I mean, this thing pulls nice. For me, the real treat is the outside, man. This car is just looking absolutely sick with those carbon fiber fenders and the carbon fiber hood on it. What I think I'm probably gonna do though, this is another speed zone, go figure, when I want to drift. Man, what an absolute monster this thing is.
When it is safe to do so.
Where are you going, bruh? What I think I'm gonna do is take this thing down to the city, or I guess it's up to the city since it's up in this corner of the map here. Thing looks like that route looks like it's taking me to a speed camera. I don't know what that's all about. But what I think we might do since we are in the city is probably put an end to this video. We'll post up here. Looks like a nice spot for our thumbnail. And we'll go ahead and enter photo mode and see if we can get a nice shot. And that thing is looking sick, man. See, even in this light, in certain lights, this car, the gray still looks a little too light, man. It's really weird. Like, in some light, it looks too dark. In some light, it looks too gray. But actually, that picture right there, I'm liking that one right there, man. Now, since I am a Freshkicks fan, as well as a Nissan Infiniti fan, this is probably my attainable dream car right here, is a Q50. I would, put my own personal touch and flair on it, but I'd say this stance right here with that wheel fitment and this thing being super low, man, this thing is absolutely dope. And for those of you guys who don't know, I just installed a set of lowering springs on my boy's Q50. So if you guys are not subscribed to my other channel, youtube.com/Denali, definitely do so, man. But I'm thinking that's probably going to be it for today's video. You guys know how we do it. If you guys did enjoy this one, don't forget to smash that like button if you guys want to see more and you are not subscribed yet. Definitely do so, man. But as always, I am your boy Denali, aka Don Squally, and we're gonna catch y'all mofos at the next one, man. Peace. Don't die. Oh shit, where you going, bro? Don't be creeping on my friend. Don't be creeping on my friend. You and your homie. Oh, nut shot. Nut shot. Oh, buddy. Let's go. And your boy, man. Get him out of here. Oh, fucking. Ah!